In today's video we will discuss the 10 lottery winners who died horribly. Please make sure you subscribe to the Top 10 Jaw-Dropping Facts channel. We are going to discuss even though you won the lotto, it does not always equal a happy ending. These are 10 lotto winners who died after receiving the money. Number 10. Craig Birch Jr. After he won nearly $500,000 from a Georgia lottery in November 2015. Just 2 months later, he was found dead in his home from gunshot wounds after a violent home invasion. Armed robbers entered the 20-year-old's home with masks and shotguns, demanding his money. According to his girlfriend, who ran for help during the robbery, Birch pleaded with them not to kill him in front of his kids. He told them they could have his bank card, but when the thieves couldn't find his wallet, they shot him and ran away. Birch had recently used some of his $434,272 Fantasy 5 winnings to buy Christmas presents for the less fortunate. Number 9. Urooj Khan. Poor Urooj Khan should have kept his promise to himself. A lottery ticket buying addict, he'd sworn off buying lottery tickets. But the 46-year-old Chicagoan couldn't fight the urge, he had to buy one more. Bam! His ticket hit the $1 million jackpot. Lucky son of a gun. Deciding to cash out the ticket in one lump sum instead of installments, Khan waited with much anticipation for that first check of $425,000. Tragically, he never saw a dime of it. He suddenly dropped dead the day after his winnings were publicly announced. The coroner said it was natural causes. But a close family member wasn't buying it. Sure enough, another autopsy revealed that Khan died of cyanide poisoning. And after he was dead, his estate quickly cashed the check. Naturally, the local police department is now treating his death as a homicide. However, as of 2017, the case remains unsolved. Number 8. Abraham Shakespeare. Another big winner, Abraham Shakespeare hit it large in the Florida State Lotto for $30 million in 2006. Shakespeare lived it up for a couple of years, almost having spent all his money until he suddenly disappeared in 2006. His body was found under a concrete slab in April 2009. Suspicions turned to a woman Shakespeare was associated with who had apparently bilked him out of over $1 million. She even convinced Shakespeare to sign over his assets to her. She was eventually charged in connection to his murder. Number 7. Amanda Clayton. Single mom Amanda Clayton struck it rich hitting the lotto in Michigan for $1 million in 2011. A welfare recipient, Clayton had previously struggled to take care of her 2 kids. But greed is a strange thing. She was convicted of welfare fraud and sentenced to probation when it was discovered that she continued to receive food stamps after hitting the lotto. It could have been a bad drug habit that drove Clayton to deceive the government. Only 25 years old, she was found dead in 2012, likely due to a drug overdose. Number 6. Ryan McKechnie. It looked like life was offering Ryan McKechnie another chance when the 31-year-old hit the Irish Lotto in 2012 for £40,000, about $50,000 in US dollars. A former drug addict, McKechnie had already kicked the habit prior to winning and was in the midst of raising his 3 children alone after their mother died of drug-related causes in 2010. Generous with his friends, however, the money was quickly gone, forcing McKechnie to struggle to make ends meet for himself and his family. Apparently, someone believed that he still had a stash of cash. He was found stabbed to death in his home in February 2014. Number 5. Doris Murray. All of Doris Murray's dreams were about to come true when she struck it rich, hitting the Georgia State Lottery jackpot for $5 million. But unlike some other lotto winners who squander their money, the mother of 4 kept a low profile and continued to live modestly. Too bad she didn't have the greatest taste in men. After she threatened to break up with her boyfriend, he stabbed her to death just a year after she won the lottery. Family and friends insisted was all over the money. Number 4. Jeffrey Dampier. An enterprising man, when Jeffrey Dampier won $20 million in the Illinois state jackpot, he took some of his winnings and opened up a gourmet popcorn shop. He also lavished gifts on his sister-in-law, with whom he'd been having an affair. Unfortunately, Dampier's sister-in-law had plans for some of the money that hadn't been spent. Along with her boyfriend, she helped kidnap Dampier and then shot him to death. Number 3. David Edwards. Another big spender, David Edwards went through $12 million in his first year as a lottery legend. But hey, that must have seemed like a drop in the bucket in comparison to his overall winnings, which totaled $27 million. After purchasing a Learjet, mansions, and a fleet of cars, and squandering away untold amounts of cash, poor David ended up living in a storage unit with his wife. Having contracted hepatitis due to intravenous drug use, Edwards died at the age of 58 completely penniless in a hospice in Ashland, Kentucky. Number 2. Billy Bob Harrell Jr. He was on top of the world when he hit the $31 million jackpot in Texas. Billy Bob quit his job, took his family to Hawaii, and generous soul that he was, donated tens of thousands to various charities. Sadly, he made a deal with a company to pay him a lump sum instead of allotments over time. By doing so, he ended up receiving far less than he originally won. That, along with constant harassment over his money and his wife ultimately leaving him, more than likely pushed him over the edge. He was found at his home, dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in May 1999. Number 1. Gerald Muswagon. A Canadian with a big grin, Gerald Muswagon struck gold by hitting the $10 million jackpot in northern Manitoba. A generous guy, Muswagon immediately rushed out after winning his money and bought a house plus 8 brand new big screen TVs for his buddies. But things kind of went south after that. He began drinking and was arrested on several occasions for various infractions. His logging business failed. Then, to top it all off, he was arrested for sexual assault against a 19-year-old girl. Eventually, broke and depressed, he hung himself in his parents' garage. This is our list of 10 lottery winners who died horribly. Just goes to show you, more money, more problems. Always be prepared for the wolves when you have success. What would you do if you won the lotto? Do not forget to subscribe to the Top 10 Jaw-Dropping Facts channel. And new episodes release every Monday through Friday.